Let's explore how someone takes a fall. And I don't mean a sudden, dramatic crash. I mean a slow, quiet, step-by-step walk down a path that gets steeper and more slippery with every single choice. This is the story of how your own hands, your own talent, guided by what you think are good intentions, could lead you somewhere you never ever thought you'd go. It all begins right here. With a simple fact, a compliment you've probably heard your whole life, right? From your mom, from your teachers. It becomes who you are. You're the one who can fix things, stitch things together. You have a gift. And you need to remember that feeling because these hands, they're the hero and the villain of this entire story. So how does a gift like that get corrupted? Well, it starts with a tale as old as time. A massive collision between what you're capable of and the crushing reality of your life. This is that moment. This is where vulnerability starts to creep in. And here you can just see the gap between these two lives. It's huge. On one side, you've got the dream. You were 3 years into mid-school. You were going to be a surgeon. And on the other side, the reality. You're a surgical tech. You got suspended. You were drowning in debt. And you literally have an eviction notice sitting on your counter. The life you were supposed to have feels so close you can taste it, but it's completely, totally out of reach.
And here's the kicker, the really frustrating part. You've got the skill. You're in the OR every day. You see the mistakes the residents make. You know these procedures backwards and forwards. Your talent is absolutely real. But without that degree, that piece of paper, it's just this source of, well, pride, but also this deep, burning frustration. And it's also the thing that gets you noticed by exactly the wrong kind of people.
In every story like this, there's a catalyst. For you, his name is Dmitry. He just finds you in the hospital parking garage of all places. He says he's heard about you, about your hands, and he offers you what he calls a business opportunity. Just a blank card with a phone number on it, and of course you throw it away. I mean, who wouldn't? But weeks go by. That eviction notice is still staring at you. And late one night, you pull that number out of your memory, and after arguing with yourself in the dark for what feels like hours, you make the call.
You know, the first step onto a really dark path is never a big, dramatic leap. It's a tiny little sidestep, a detour. You tell yourself it's just a temporary thing to get you through. It's almost always framed in your mind as just this once.
And this is where the mental gymnastics really begin. You have to build this whole ladder of justifications just to make it okay to climb down. You tell yourself, hey, the donor's getting paid, so it's victimless, right? It's just a business deal. Desperate times, you know? And besides, just listening to the offer, that's not the same as agreeing. Being curious isn't a commitment. These are the little walls you build in your mind to make the unthinkable, well, thinkable. So, the first job. It's in a hotel room of all places, turned into some kind of makeshift operating room. And your hands, the hands that everyone always praised, they're rock steady, not a single tremor. You're precise, you're professional, you're perfect. And then, the next morning, an envelope with $8,000 in cash is slipped under your door. Just like that, the rent is paid. Your sister gets the money she desperately needed, and the horrible thing you just did, it's immediately rewarded with this overwhelming sense of relief. The problem is gone. So, after that first absolutely terrifying step, the second one feels a little easier. And the third one, well, the third one starts to feel like a routine. This is what experts call the normalization of deviance. What was once completely, shockingly unacceptable to you, it slowly, quietly becomes your new normal.
I mean, look at this progression. It's stark. The very first time, holding a living organ in your hands, it was like time just stopped. It felt sacred, terrifying. You could feel its warmth, its weight. But by job number 15, that feeling is long gone. It's just a procedure, just anatomy. And by the time you're past 20, you don't even count anymore. You just notice that something inside you has gone quiet. It's like a light went out in a room you don't go into anymore.
So what do? You adapt. You make it professional. You get a burner phone. You keep a go bag packed and ready at all times. You even start investing in your own better surgical tools. And maybe most importantly, you figure out this crucial survival tactic. You split yourself in two. There's the you that performs the act, the skilled technician. And then there's the other you, the one that just watches from a safe, cold, clinical distance. But through all of this, all of it, you hold on to one single core belief. That you are still in control. You believe deep down that there are things you will not do, that there is a line in the sand. And then that belief gets put to the ultimate test. Dmitry calls. But this job is different. It's non-consensual.
The donor isn't supposed to wake up. And your answer is immediate. It's firm. It is an absolute, unequivocal no.
And that no, man, it feels like a victory. It feels like proof. Proof that your moral compass isn't broken after all, that you aren't completely lost. You held the line. And in your mind, that means the line is real. It's a solid wall that's there to protect you.
But then, someone shows up. Someone who was there in those hotel rooms, silent in the corner. Her name is Sarah, and she's there to tell you that the big, strong wall you're so proud of building is nothing more than a chalk mark on the floor, and she's about to wipe it away with her foot.
She sits down right at your kitchen table and she just drops this bomb. That line you think you're so brave for defending? It doesn't exist. Not really. Not in the way that you think it does. And then she explains it. It's what psychologists call moral drift. The line isn't some fixed wall way off in the distance. No, the line is just your current position. It's wherever you happen to be standing at this exact moment. And where you are standing right now is miles away from where you were 2 years ago. You never actually crossed a line. You just slowly dragged it along with you.
And her final warning? Wow, it is a straight-up gut punch. She tells you your no doesn't prove anything. It's just a temporary problem for Dmitri to solve. Because your talent, those gifted hands, it's just too valuable. You see, you're not a person to him anymore. You are his best tool. And people like that, they don't let their best tools retire. So after Sarah leaves, you're just left alone with this devastating new truth. And in that awful, deafening quiet, you make one last conscious choice. There are no more excuses left. No more rationalizations. There's just acceptance.
And this is that final moment. You're looking at your real phone and you see the number for the medical school. It's like a ghost from another life. You think about the person you were supposed to be. You remember when this all felt like a temporary pause in your real story. And then you put that phone down and you pick up the other one. You finally accept it. That old story isn't paused. It's over. In the final actions, they're as deliberate and as precise as any surgery you've ever performed. 1. Put down the real phone. 2. Pick up the second one. 3. Type 2 simple words. I'm available. And that's it. This isn't a compromise anymore. This is a complete and total surrender.
You know, this might be the single most haunting part of the whole story. The real horror isn't the work itself or the lines you crossed. It's that after all of this, you go to bed and you sleep just fine. The darkness used to keep you up at night, filled with fear and guilt. And now it just feels like dark. And it leaves us with this really chilling question. At what point does the horrible thing you do become so ordinary that it doesn't even scare you anymore?